the dais, Mr. Vinay, Mr. Nakar, Mr. Anuj, Mr. Vinod, and the audience here full of very energetic industry professionals. Team from Sri Vishwakarma Skill University, my friend and colleague from JPM, Mr. Sharma. Unfortunately, we don't have Mr. Gupta, B.D. Gupta today here. He was to be co-partnering with me in this presentation. You see, I have been in industry. I have been told to have 15 minutes, so I'll take my 15 minutes for this presentation. I have spent almost 28 years in industry before I got the opportunity of taking a sabbatical when government asked me to move out and help government to set up the Skill University. So I moved out of, I worked for IBM, I worked for Schneider for a long, many years, and then took a sabbatical it was a kind of a sabbatical. It was initially for 3 years, but I think it went on, and now this is my 8th year in this university, and government has not been letting me go back. But I think this year I'll think about what I have to do. But in these 8 years, we have done a remarkable work in the state by setting up the Sri Vishwakarma Skill University, the first skill university in India. And I compliment my team and the industry with whose help we have been able to make it up. Because I came from industry, I had a fair idea about the changing business models, especially the linear business models moving to non-linear business models between headcount and revenue. And that non-linearity in the business was giving me a fair idea that there was a tremendous pressure coming on the headcount, especially the human resource and the talent side. And one of the biggest challenges for the industry was how we can engage talent, how we can enable talent, how we can empower talent, and how we can make that talent effective. And in return, help the industry to stay innovative, to stay competitive, to stay globally relevant, and also create an economic impact for the organization. So this idea I had when I stepped out of the industry, and this was the starting point for our university to go and meet again the end user who has to use the output of the university finally to understand what they want if this skill university has to be established and how this institution can help. So I'll just share what we did. One of the biggest challenges today in India was that the institutions that were producing talent ready for the industry is not finding that talent ready. And the institutions have to create students who are going for jobs in the industry, but the industry is then again spending money on upskilling them so that they are made productive for the industry. So that was a start point for us, that what we can do so that the candidates, students who pass out from the institution, they are at least ready for the industry and they can go and be productive. In IBM, we used to call direct process. Means on the day one, when I hire a candidate, the candidate is ready to be sent to the process. So one important change that we did in our model was that we decided through our lot of interactions we had with the industry in 2016 and 17, we decided to work on a different model. We call it work integrated model. So this work integrated model, briefly I want to share with you, is that generally a student has to earn in a 3-year or a 4-year degree program all those credits, almost 90% of the credits they have to work while inside the campus. But in our case, we changed this credit structure model. And now what we do is, if someone has to do an undergraduate program in university, the undergraduate program has to be mandatorily having an industry partner. 60% of credits now a student has to earn while working in the industry. So it became an industry work integrated model where with industry we partner to find out those job roles where industry actually wants a resource, and then we rework our curriculum, align it with that job role, and the candidate spending 40% of his time in the campus and 60% of the time in that industry with which we have partnered. So today, Vishwakarma Skill University has more than 100 industry partners with whom would run more than 50 programs in Haryana, and almost 2,000 candidates are passing up. So this is one change that we did by partnering with the industry, so that industry is getting industry-ready resources. And eventually the pass-outs become the first choice for the industry to be employed within. The second important challenge was that once you enter into an institution, you have to complete your degree, and unless you complete your degree, you can't exit. So the another area we worked was the flexible entry and exit system. It's not mandatory for you to stay for all 4 years in the campus. So what we did, every year we created a flexible exit structure for the student. They can move out, and at the exit point, they may be relevant to a job role, they can go and work in the industry, and after some time, they may come back again. With those earned credits, they can again come back to the institution after 1 year, 2 years, and continue with their studies. Thus making it flexible entry and exit, but mobility upward. So you can have a lifelong model available with you, then you can come anytime and study. But the third important thing was that in India today, we don't have education completely democratized. And when I say democratized, means that today there's a big bias between the formal education and the informal education. When I was in the industry, we always thought that, if I have completed my graduation, after that, I will always remain a graduate in the industry, even if I earn so much of experience. So there is a bias for the formal education. Unless you go to a institution, in university or a college, your education is not considered to be equivalent to an education. You spend 20 years, 15 years, 30 years in the industry. What about that experience? So that is where we decided that we need to rethink about it. We traveled around the world and found that many countries are actually recognizing the experience as one of the important components of creditizing and converting that into an educational program. So what happens that if you have a graduate degree with you, you have spent 10 to 15 years in industry, those 10 to 15 years can also be assessed and converted into credits, combined with some credits, and an individual employee can become a postgraduate or can earn a PhD degree. So this is where we did a research. In fact, my PhD research was in recognition of prior learning, and thankfully Government of Haryana was the first state in the country to accept the recommendations of the recognition of prior learning in higher education. And now today, we are proud to run this recognition of prior learning in higher education. Our first partner is JBM, and I want to thank JBM for what they have done while having this experiment in the Haryana. So this is a snapshot about the JBM. I don't need to tell you about what JBM is doing. One of the brand leaders today, spread across almost 40 countries in the world, more than 40,000 employees. And they are spread into various sectors. They have even the electric vehicle is something that they have recently come into, railways, commercial vehicles. So I don't need to talk much about, because you are already familiar about this industry, and these are so many customers that they are proud of having with them. But what we did with the JBM is very something interesting that I want to share with you, which is part of the democratization of education in Haryana through the recognition of prior learning. What we saw in JBM was they are in tool and die, and they have got thousands of employees who have joined JBM after completing their 12th or ITI or diploma, and have spent donkeys of years in the organization. But they continue to be stagnated at some specific level. So what we did a mapping of all these people who are with 12th pass or 10 plus 2 with ITI or diploma, and we did a mapping of their total experience. And we realized that if we have a graduate program in tool and die, almost 50-60% of the curriculum is automatically covered through the experience that they have. But the only problem is there is no available framework that can assess that and can creditize their experience. So what we did with JBM, we did the first experiment, and we created an undergraduate program in tool and die. And through this process, we offered this program to many people, and through a structured assessment, interview, tests, and mapping of their experience, we allowed and accepted them almost 1.5 years. So now they had to enter into a 1 year, 3 tri-semester program, which our faculties is now deployed in JBM, and they are actually taking them through the entire curriculum of the balanced part of the credit. And now these youngsters in JBM will very soon become graduates. Now, what has happened, because they have, it's not only about a graduation. So what eventually has happened, that during this 1 year, they have been taken through various conceptual and theoretical inputs that have been given by very experienced and seasoned faculties, including industry professionals. And through that, their ability to relate their experience with the concepts and the theories and the emerging technologies has actually opened their lid of thinking. And now what JVM as an organization gives feedback to us is that they're becoming very proactive, very productive, very innovative. Their ability to perform on the shop floor and with their teams has also improved. So we found that this experiment has actually worked well. We did a similar experiment, but for the BTech students with the Anand Group. We did for management students for with some other company, and now we are finding that this recognition of prior learning that we started with JPN is becoming a little bit more popular among various industries. And we find that if this model is taken up, it will not only help our lot of talent which is in the middle rung or the lower than the middle rung to have that sense of self-esteem, to have that sense of power, to have that sense of belongingness, to have that sense of being recognized, to have that sense of becoming productive and then getting acknowledged through various forums within the organization, and they contribute in a more meaningful way. So the non-formal learning and the informal learning now through this model of recognition of prior learning can be recognized, and Sri Vishwakarma Skill University offers a platform where your employees at any level can be taken through this recognition of prior learning. So we do this recognition of prior learning at different levels. It can be done at the operator level, it can be done at the supervisor level, it can be done at the middle management level. In fact, now this year we are offering a PhD program for showing amazing interest to go for the PhD with university, because it's going to be a different blend and model for university. So this is how we worked out the candidates with the JBM who actually became eligible for this program, and eventually these are just few of the aspects that we think has actually helped industry. So I don't want to bore you with the chart, but I already shared with you that how this program has actually helped to increase the motivation, productivity, ideation, and the confidence of the professionals who joined this program, and how it has helped industry not only to retain them but also to enhance their motivation to become more productive for the organization. So this is already what I have shared with you. And any of the students, in case you want to explore this for your organization, you can explore it at any level. We did the pilot project with JBM, but I think now it's becoming a project of first choice for many industries, where they want to not only engage their talent, but they want to make them more productive. They want to make them ideative. They want to also ensure that they are empowered with knowledge of relevance for today and tomorrow. So these are some of the applicants which initially joined us in this program, and it has we have the backing of the industry. So that makes us even more confident to go and present it to the industry. And we'd like to thank JBM and their entire leadership for showing this confidence to begin this pilot project with them. So these are just some of the images I would like to show. So I already talked about how it is going to benefit not only to you as an employer, but to your employees and also the society, where today most of these people sometimes feel marginalized. They don't feel there's a wall in front of them. They don't think they can grow. But through this model of recognition of prior learning, I think it can create a disruptive career growth for many people who are interested in pursuing their career. In India, to conclude, in India, one of the biggest challenges today is gross enrollment ratio. And if you see, our country's gross enrollment ratio is around 28-29%. Gross enrollment ratio is calculated on the age group of 18 to 23. And given that 18 to 23, we have 18 to 23 population, 140 million youngsters in this age group. But when we look at the gross enrollment ratio, which is 20 to 29%, it means only 38 million are enrolled in higher education. So more than 100 million are not engaged in higher education. But the data also says out of this 100 million, which is in the category of 18 to 23, 50% are eligible, means they are 12th pass or above, and they are eligible to be in higher education, but unfortunately because of various reasons, they have entered into the labor market. So this population can also be tapped and they can be made productive. And India, which is looking towards becoming a Viksit Bharat and leveraging this demographic dividend, if this kind of model is taken across the nation, I think it will help India to really progress. It will help you and your organization to become more productive. Thank you very much, and thank you all for your time. Thanks, Nehru, for giving me this opportunity.